That's nice. My first gift tonight. My first guest is an old friend, very funny man. He wears many hats, because he has many heads. No, he doesn't. I mean, well, where does that expression come from? You know?
I don't
We'll
know.
have to check on that. Why will we have to check on that? Nobody cares. But I mean, he comedies and he
Comedies?
He comedies, he produces, he does all those kind of things. And he has a starring role in the movie Author, which is currently filming. That means right now. I'm just on the edge.
I know. Let him come out and comede.
Why don't we do that? Would you welcome Alan King?
Author, which I wish it was Author.
Yeah. Was that a big money?
That'd be twice as good as Arthur.
Yeah, I guess it's it's only the 6th of January, so Happy New Year.
Thank you.
When do you officially quit wishing people Happy New Year? Is there a cutoff date or something?
Well, I just saw somebody in Los Angeles this afternoon still selling Christmas trees.
That wouldn't surprise me. Well, they're aluminum out here, of course, so you can sell them all year round. Crazy. How are you?
I'm very well.
The beard we talked about last time Alan was here, it's for the picture.
Yeah, and I have another 3 weeks of shooting, and I'm going to shave it off. It's getting a bit uncomfortable.
Were you surprised that it turned out as white as it did?
Actually, no. I just can't keep putting the crayon on my face. You know? No, I just put the beard on because, as I said, I have 7 scenes with Al Pacino, and I was looking to put a ring through my nose or, something, or he's such a fun
Little distraction.
Yeah.
You're working with the top people.
Super guy.
What do you want to talk about tonight?
I don't know.
Discussed almost...
How about pigs and horses?
You have anything to say about that at all?
Yeah, Jews are smarter than both. We don't bet on horses and we don't eat pigs.
Good, very good.
Now to the prepared material.
Are you, speaking, are you Orthodox Jewish? Don't you eat
No, I
eat pork at all? I mean, now?
Yeah,
There's some modern Jews.
Yes, no, but I come from Orthodox family, and
Right.
I don't think there's anything wrong with eating bacon and ham and everything,
Right.
but it just gives me a better feeling.
Yeah.
Not eating it because of my background and my training and my heritage.
Yeah, those things hold tight, don't they?
Yeah, it's important. It's important.
Let me ask you something. Did your mother want you to be? I know one of your brothers is a doctor.
I have
Right. Two,
3 brothers.
All doctors?
3 brothers are the doctors, and the only one who makes a house call is my mother. My mother did want me to be a doctor.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Was she terribly distressed when she found that you were working up in the mountains at 15 and doing jokes?
Oh, yeah. Well, you see, when you're the youngest of 8 children, and they were all geniuses at school.
Right.
And I had to follow in their footsteps in the same classroom. So much was expected of me.
Right.
Then I was crazy. I was always getting into trouble. And I went away with Major Bo's unit. I came in second on a Major Bo's. Major Bo's was the very famous old...
He preceded, for the younger viewers, he preceded Ted Mack.
Right, he was the Major Bo's amateur. And we're talking about you, Major. And...
Major's gone to that great wheel up in the sky.
Yes.
Round and round
And,
she goes.
I came in second. The guy that won it, I'll never forget, I was 14, was a bald-headed man who took his knuckle, banged on his head, and accompanied himself to the bells of St. Mary. Which, will give you an idea how good I had to be to come in second.
You know, I'm not trying to top your story, which I can't. I was on, remember the old Horsehight traveling show? I went on that once in Omaha and lost to a guy with an accordion who finished with Lady of Spain. And there is no way on this earth, if you have to follow a guy playing Lady of Spain with lots of those, you're out of it. You're out of it.
But, but what really was interesting, at least to me, was the fact that I was making, this was Depression years, I went on tour with the Major Bo's units, and I was making $75 a week. My father was making 35 or 40, And so I had this obligation, this family feeling, of course, and I kept sending money home. So my oldest brother, one I've always, ridiculed on television.
Oh, the doctor.
Yeah. And I sent him to Syracuse, which I'm very proud of. He went to Syracuse and graduated cum laude, Harvard Medical School. He went into the Army, World War II, a first lieutenant, came out a lieutenant colonel. He was the youngest member ever elected to the College of Diagnosticians and Surgeons.
I didn't know that.
And I wouldn't let him cut my nails, John.
No, it's your brother. It's your brother.
He was 14, he used to wet the bed. My mother still calls him the Midnight Sailor.
You don't want to go to any doctor who was called the Midnight Sailor.
That's right.
How does he take this when you come on television and you do this? Because he's got to face his colleagues the next day.
He doesn't have a private practice anymore. He's semi-retired.
Discard, eh?
No, but he's a consultant. He teaches. He's a consultant. The consultant, that's the guy you bring in when your doctor screws it up. You bring my brother in and he confirms it, you see? He's the guy that hums you to death. You ever see the guy? I love when the consultant comes in and they look at the charts and the guy's laying in the bed there and they go, like the guy's going to get up and dance or something. But he got very upset. We just had Christmas in Florida. We had kind of a family reunion. And my brother doesn't drink, but we had a couple of boozers for my birthday. And all of a sudden, it all came out. You know, he said to me, "You think it was easy practicing medicine with you as a brother? You think it was easy going into surgery Monday morning when you were on the Ed Sullivan Show Sunday night with your big mouth?" And, you know, I saw this picture. Can you just see, as they were wheeling the bodies into the operating room, the nurse would say, "Did you know that Dr. Nyberg is Alan King's brother?" You could see all these people jumping off the table, naked people running down Fifth Avenue, you know.
Well, you really did a number on him. You would really go after him.
Well, because...
For all doctors generally, not just
Yeah, but you see, it was a personal thing. I felt that the age of specialization is going to destroy us. A doctor's a general practitioner. Yeah. I mean, what do you do, sir? I'm a right nostril man. That's all he does. Yeah. Then he's got a partner that does left nostril, you know. And the thing that has always annoyed me, John, is the fact that their knowledge is no good to us because they won't share it with us. You can't get them on the phone.
Yeah.
I said to my brother, why don't you try calling your office, disguise your voice, and see if you can get an appointment with you?
Yeah.
It's always, "Miss Halsey speaking. How do you do? I'd like to speak to the doctor." "Oh, the doctor's quite busy right now." "Well, of course, I'm glad he is. I don't want some yutz waiting around for the phone to ring."
That's right.
And what do I have to do to speak to him? "Well, what is it about?" "Well, I'd like 2 tickets to Fiddler on the Roof." I'm sick, you know. But you know, the nurses... Johnny, the nurses don't realize what they're saying. They really don't.
What's it about?
You know, what is it about? I said, "Well, I'd like an appointment." "One moment, please." "How about a week from Tuesday?" I said, "Swell, I'll have the hearse drop me off. That'd be nice." "I won't have him nail the lid so the doctor can look in." What is that? I mean, it really is outrageous. They don't realize this. And it's terrible. You know, things like...
You know what drives me crazy nowadays? Luckily, I'm in good health, but I went to the Mayo once for one of those checkups. You know where you're going.
It's quite a place.
And all of a sudden, as you get older, these kids come in, which are doctors. And you think it's some, you know, a guy down on an apprentice training program, and they're specialists. Because as we get older, and the doctor comes who's 28, and some of them look like they're 21, you know, and they got a tie-dyed smock on and gold chains.
And, you know, usually long hair tied in a bun.
Yeah.
That's always nice. And they speak Hindu.
Yeah, I want a doctor like Norman Rockwell used to have on the cover of Saturday Evening Post. I want gray hair, spectacles, sitting by the bedside, you know, holding your hand. And this kid comes in and say, "Hey, man, how's it going?
Yeah, what's happening, Daddy?" You know, when my father was operated on, my father's an irascible, wonderful man, and this doctor came in. He must have been 12.
Yeah.
And he said, "I'm your doctor." My father said to him, "No, you're the son of the doctor."
Send me a doctor.
Send me a doctor. You got to be over 50.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have time, but yeah. My grandfather, who died...
lived to be...
104.
Oh, come on.
No, seriously, 104.
Well, that's remarkable.
And he was a rabbi, you know, and then in the days when the rabbis wore the striped trousers and the silk hat, you know, the cutaway coat, he was an amazing man. And he was getting, I don't like to use this word because it's overused, a bit of senility was setting in, you know, but he was already about 100. And he lived with my mother. And now I have 3 doctors in the family, right? And the old man got up one morning and he wore the high boot, you know, the high shoes with the elastic on the side. And the old man walked in, if I may, he walked in dragging the leg. And my mother got hysterical, and we called my brother, and I says, "You better get over here right away." He says, "Well, I'm not orthopedic. I don't care what you are. It's your grandfather. Get over here." Right. And there was St. John's Hospital in Brooklyn, and I drove the car. It's absolutely true story. They took the old man 100 years old. What did he know what day it was, you know? And we took him to the hospital, and we were very close, and I kept holding his hand. And he looked around like he didn't know what they were doing to him. And they put him in, and 3 doctors and they were banging him, and they were taking tests. The old man was sitting there. And I waited about an hour, and my brother brought me in, and there were all the charts, you know, the x-rays. And he says, well, Alan, it says the x-rays show nothing. He said, but you got to understand, a man who may be 100, they weren't sure how old he was.
Yeah.
He said, the calcium deterioration, and they went into some long Latin... I said, well, he said, what do you do? He says, well, what we're going to do is we'll put ace bandages on, you know, on the leg,
right,
and give him some support. My brother Eddie was a bookmaker. And, you know, it's the old joke, it wasn't him, we'd all starve to death.
That's right.
My brother Eddie came overnight, everybody was upset, and we told him the story. My brother Eddie went into the bedroom, looked in the shoe. My grandfather's socks from the night before were jammed into the toe. That's why. And they were looking at the x-rays.
Take the socks out.
The socks were in the shoe from the night before.
Remember the guy who had the terrible migraine headaches, the eyes bulged all the time? And we went to all these doctors, and they said, we don't know what to do. You know, they gave him 6 months to live. And he says, I have this terrible pressure, he said, around the temples. Absolutely. He said, my eyes are bugging out. The doctors didn't know what to do. And he said, if that keeps up, you're going to die. And the guy says, well, if I'm going to die, I'm going to live it up pretty good. He said, I'm going to go out and just buy new clothes and go to the best restaurants and so forth. And he goes into the men's store. Don't you remember this? He says, I like some new shirts. And the clerk says, what's your next size? And the guy says, 15. He says, you were a 15. He says, you'll get pressure up here and your eyes will bug out. He says, you need a 15 and a half. He said, that'll kill you. Take a break and we'll be right back. Stay where you are.
Author. Which I wish it was Arthur.
Yeah. Was that a big money?
That'd be twice as good as Arthur.
Yeah, I guess it's still, it's only the 6th of January, so Happy New Year.
Thank you.
When do you officially quit wishing people Happy New Year? Is there a cutoff date or something?
Well, I just saw somebody in Los Angeles this afternoon still selling Christmas trees.
Nobody cares. But I mean, he comedies and he
Comedies?
He comedies, he produces, he does all those kind of things. And he has a starring role in the movie Author, which is currently filming. That means right now. I'm just on the edge.
I know. Let him come out and comede.
Why don't we do that? Would you welcome Alan King? Surprised me. Well, they're aluminum out here, of course, so you can sell them all year round. Crazy. How are you?
I'm very well.
The beard we talked about last time Alan was here, it's for the picture.
Yeah, and I have another 3 weeks of shooting, and I'm going to shave it off. It's getting a bit uncomfortable.
Were you surprised that it turned out as white as it did? That's nice. My first gift tonight. My first guest is an old friend, very funny man. He wears many hats, because he has many heads. No, he doesn't. I mean, well, where does that expression come from?
I don't know.
We'll have to check on that. Why will we have to check on that?